Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's June 8th, 2016. This is Christopher Aaron. This is the iGold Advisor channel. We will update the action in gold and silver, as well as the status of the silver trade that we made last week. And I just wanted to say congratulations to anyone who participated in this trade with me. It's been fairly successful, and we will look at how that has played out thus far and what I'm thinking silver is going to do here going forward, and will there be any more opportunities for this sort of thing. Now, for anyone who is new to this channel, I just wanted to let people know that the reason I focus on technicals so much, which is the study of these charts, is because I have seen throughout the course of my investing career that people who focus only on the fundamentals often can be right on those fundamentals, but they can be very wrong on the timing. And so you can lose quite a sum of money, as we have seen from the drops in the precious metals from 2011 to 2015, if you only follow the fundamental factors as to the data for supply and demand and whatnot. Now, when we focus on the charts, what we're doing is focusing on what the market is actually saying. And we're saying, okay, we understand certain fundamentals, yes, but there are 100 other channels out there, people making videos, books, articles that have been written on the fundamentals. I don't need to repeat all those here for you. What I do is a specific form of analysis that works for me, and it works for some other people that I am working with. And so I'm just sharing that form of analysis here with you so we can hopefully make some money from these markets, because ultimately, isn't that what investing is about? I mean, it's wonderful to know that the Federal Reserve is printing money or the electronic equivalent of that money. It's wonderful to know that we should protect ourselves. And yes, I agree with those things. But ultimately, aren't we in this to either protect our wealth or to grow our wealth? So that's the focus of this form of analysis. We see here the surge in gold over the last day, looking the green line, the action today. And let's look a nice close here, a nice strong finishing higher throughout the day, and surging a little bit as we continue into the overnight hours, or what would be Thursday in Asia. And let's turn over to look at silver, because our trade was based on the action in silver. A huge day in silver today, and this is exactly what I was expecting last Friday. I couldn't tell you exactly which day it was going to manifest, but I knew it was coming within a week or two. And so the trading strategy involved that. Silver up almost 80 cents from the lows of yesterday. So how did this manifest? And I'm just going to bring up the actual transaction confirmation for my trade to show people what is possible with this type of trading. And this is not what I do with all of my capital. I do stack the physical metals, as you see in the background. I believe it is very important to be doing that on a regular basis. I also accumulate mining companies, and we make adjustments to our portfolio periodically, several times a year, based on when new companies are developing new mines. So that's another component of this. But the short-term trading is simply a third component. And so here's my actual transaction from this trade. I have blacked out the actual dollar amounts because that can be different for every person. We don't need to speak actual dollars that we're trading here. What's most important is the trajectory of the trade and the percentage gain. And so when I made the video on Friday, I was looking at the options here on the SLV June 17th call options at the 16 strike price. And I was looking at them at $14 per contract. And sure enough, wouldn't you know it, by the time I actually went to execute the trade, they were already $2 higher. So my average cost on Friday was actually 16. Now, a lot of people who made this trade using options or using some of the other paper funds actually achieved better prices than me, and that's awesome. I'm always happy when people are able to make extra profits, and there's nothing wrong with learning a system, having a system that works, and being able to make profits from that paper system, and then take those profits and buy physical metal with them, or pay your bills, or buy a new car for people that made a large trade. Our gain in 5 days was 127%. Well, this was my gain. Some other people who achieved slightly better prices, they would be up more around 150, 170%. That's awesome. I congratulate each and every one of you on that. There will be more opportunities like this in the future, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to go about doing this sort of thing, because as you can see from the delay that I experienced in just the amount of time that it took me to record the video on Friday to upload the video, the price of these options had increased by over 15%, which resulted in less of a gain for me. So the video format is not the best format. I have had a number of people email me asking about this kind of thing, and I am contemplating trying to set up some sort of a service to be able to let people know about these types of trades in a quicker manner than would be possible on the video. I did this one by video because it was the first significant one that I saw, and I wanted to show people the power of this type of trading just over the short run. So over a double in 5 days, you fill in the dollar amount. If it was a $1,000 trade, you would have doubled that. If it was a $10,000 trade, you would have doubled that. More than double. Moving on, this is how the trade's set up and what I'm seeing. Now, I have closed half of my trade this evening. For anyone who is still in this trade, open right now, I want to let you know I have closed half of my trade. Why? Because I have a mixed signal at this point when I am studying the technical analysis. The same analysis that I used to initiate the trade is now giving me a mixed signal. And when I have a mixed signal, I don't want to just hope that the trade is going to continue in my favor. Hope is completely insufficient for investing or trading. We need data. We need patterns that are recognizable. And so I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of all the technical patterns, but we had, as shown by the green circles here, this surge in silver, and here looking at the SLV fund. And we had in silver wheaton today what I would call a moderately bearish signal. If we're using Japanese candlestick analysis, almost a moderated gravestone doji. And basically what that means is the signal now is mixed. So I decided to sell half of my position. So I locked in half of my gains, and the other half I'm going to wait to see, do we get a slight bounce in silver tomorrow further? If so, I'll take that slight further gain, and I'll be happy. But if silver is going to back off tomorrow and perhaps decline throughout the rest of the week, I did not want to risk losing the entirety of my gain. There's nothing worse than having a large gain in some of these short trades and then seeing it evaporate. And it's something that I swore to myself when I was learning this system over the last few years that I would never repeat. So that's why I don't do that. I take profits when I have a nice gain, a doubling in 5 days. I'm willing to take some profits, and then with the remainder, I look to see, is the market going to continue with me? If not, I will exit the trade tomorrow. So for any of you who are in the AGQ or USLV, be aware. Tomorrow, if we have a slight further bounce, I would take your profits off of the table. Could silver continue to move higher in the short run? Yes. But the psychology of trading is really important to get into here. And it's slightly a different psychology than long-term investing. And like I said, I have different components of my investments that are dedicated, a certain percentage that is dedicated toward long-term accumulation of physical gold and silver. Why? Because I understand the fundamentals. I understand the problems with central banking, the problems with the excessive spending on war, on unwinnable wars. And so I want to continue holding that metal. And that basically just allows me to sleep well at night, and I don't have to think about that. I can buy that on a regular basis when it's possible, every month or perhaps every quarter. And I don't worry about trading that. I'm in that for the long haul. But when we're talking about the trading here, we want to be sure to take profits on regular intervals. So looking at silver now over the last 3 years, we're talking about these patterns, these inverse head and shoulders patterns that are embedded. And we have seen that the price of silver has bounced right here at the support level, briefly falling below 16 before bouncing nicely back up above 17 today. And it looks like silver is going to do some oscillating between this range of, let's say, the extreme upper 15s and the low 18s for the better part of the summer, perhaps into the fall. So we might get something like a back off here for another week, and then perhaps another surge, and then another back off, and then another surge before we break this initial target zone between 18 and 1875. I think these mini surges might continue for maybe even the better part of 2016. At least for the remainder of the summer is what I'm thinking. So this will give us some additional opportunities for significant trades like this. And the big trade is going to be when the price of silver breaks above 1875. That's going to be a really big one, because then we will probably be looking for a surge over the course of about a month or two from that upper 18 region into the low 20s. And that will be really excellent for all the people buying physical metal, all the people buying the mining equities in these lows, and it will be one heck of a trade at some point. We're not there yet. Right now we're talking about the meanderings of silver up and down in this region here. Flipping over to look at gold just really quickly, gold had a nice bounce sort of in the upper region of the support zone that we highlighted last week. So that was nice to see. Coming back now into the middle range of the consolidation. Basically, all we can say for gold at this point is that we have strong resistance at 1305 and this nice support zone. Anything above 1176, I would still consider a bullish setup for a move this fall. And especially let's remember that gold is in the seasonally weak period right now. The strong demand starts coming in from India and China in August, and September is the strongest month seasonally for gold. So if the price of gold can consolidate through the rest of the summer in this range, that will actually be very nice relative strength, setting up for a significant move, I believe, to finally break this 1305 level this fall. Now, if we get a break of this uptrend, and if we were to have a break of this support zone, we would have to reevaluate. As of now, I don't see any indicators that that is going to happen on a technical basis. Could I be wrong? Yes. No one is perfect. No one has perfect data, myself included, but none of the technical studies that I see point to gold re-entering a bear market. This looks like a very good consolidation, seasonality. The executive summary, support in gold 1175 to 1206, the resistance is 1305. Silver, support is right underneath 16 and resistance is 18 to 1875. These are nice big zones, and the mining complex are providing nice leadership and early warning signals again for higher metals prices this fall. If anyone is watching this and is interested in the possibility of wanting to do some of these types of trades that are significantly high reward, as we've seen over 100% gain on that trade in 5 days, they're high reward and they're high risk. If anyone is interested in that for a small percentage of your portfolio, send me an email or a private message. You can find the link to the webpage. Send me an email because I'm debating right now whether or not that's something that is worth doing. It would require me to figure out a new system. It would probably have to work through SMS, text messages, and email, so a simultaneous system. I would have to look for a new hardware and software system to support that, because as you can see, the timing for this is really critical. One day can make a significant difference in these trades. So I'm just trying to gather an idea of whether or not people are interested in that kind of thing. And either way, I'm going to continue to produce these videos. My hope is through the remainder of the bull market. Really, my reason for doing these is to try to allow some sanity back into the precious metals and to try to allow some of the wealth that is going to be flowing into the metals to end up in some people's hands who have a desire to do some good in the world, to help one another and to look out for one another and to create some beauty in this world. That's my real goal. And I do recognize that we need financial resources. We need money in order to do certain things in this world. So let's use the systems that we have. Let's make that money, and let's do those things. Thank you for joining me, and the next update will be a week from today, barring any other quick updates on the remaining closure of the trade, the half of a trade that I am still in. Thank you again, and have a lovely rest of your week.